to call this meeting of the Columbia County School Board to order. We'll begin with our mission statement. Above all else, we are committed to the creation of a safe and understanding environment for all students and staff while providing a world-class education. At this time, I'd like to ask Andrea Cox, the principal of Melrose Park Elementary, to lead us in our invocation and Pledge of Allegiance.
Good evening. Tonight I'd like to introduce Jazaria Witter, one of our Safety Patrol leaders and Corps students. She will be leading us in the invocation followed by the pledge. Would you please bow?
Thank you, Lord, for bringing us all here safely, and we ask that you bless those who helped prepare this event and strengthen those who are weak. In Jesus' name, amen. Please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Please, you may be seated.
Thank you, Jazaria. Tonight we have the pleasure of opening the school board with our MPE chorus, and we are super excited to be able to do so. But before we get started, I wanted to give a special thanks to Mr. Pruitt, who's hiding in the corner back there. He has been so gracious this year to share himself between Melrose and Neblack, and he has done a fantastic job. So I just wanted to say thank you. Our kids, thank you. You've done a great job, and we appreciate it. Also, we have a special occasion. We also get to be here when Miss Imogene Miller is here. She actually got her start at Melrose Park Elementary, I think 25 plus years, and was there as the music teacher for 23 years. So we're super honored to be able to perform in front of you, your old school, your alma mater. So without further ado, I know we have lots to do today. We will let our Melrose chorus go ahead and perform. So I'll turn it over to them. Thank you.
That was wonderful, Mr. Pruitt. And the Melrose Chorus. Thank you, boys and girls. What a fabulous job you have done tonight. I love both of those songs. Mr. Pruitt, we appreciate the job that you're doing. We'll move on in our agenda to welcome visitors tonight. And we would at this time like to ask if there are any visitors that would like to make a public comment on any action item. If there are none, we'll move on in the agenda. At this time, I will welcome a motion to close and adopt the agenda.
Madam Chair, before we do that, I think there are a couple corrections on the addendum, an additional presentation, some additional personnel items, and then the consent.
Mr. Carswell, are there any additions or corrections?
Yes, ma'am. On the addendum, they're spelled out on the addendum. The main one that we want to recognize the National Merit Scholar finalists tonight, and so that will be the first presentation, and then we will recognize Teacher for Lifetime after that. And it's all spelled out on the addendum.
Okay. Thank you. Anything else?
No, ma'am.
Okay. At this time, I would welcome a motion to close and adopt the agenda.
Madam Chair, I move that we close and adopt the agenda with the addition.
Second.
Thank you. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? The motion carries. At this time, we'll begin with our presentations, and Mr. Lang, I'll turn it over to you.
Thank you. And could I go ahead and get the board members and Mr. Carswell to come forward, actually?
Sure.
I know we don't have everyone here tonight, so we can do it this way. Okay, so a couple of months ago, we recognized our National Merit Scholar finalists, and one of them could not be here that evening. He was playing tennis, and then we had multiple instances where the board meetings coincided with the tennis matches at CHS, so we tried to get that together and weren't able to make that happen until tonight, but luckily he's finished with the season, he's able to be here, and again, just want to, briefly say that these National Merit Scholarship finalists are recognized by the College Board. It's a national program that began in 1955, and they take the highest scores nationally, the PSAT and MSQT, that's given their junior year, and the top 3% are officially entered into the competition. We had 2 Columbia High School students, now seniors, continue through the ranks based on their performance, and they wound up being finalists, of which there's only about, represent the top 1% of all students that do this nationally. And basically, if they are selected, which we're still waiting to hear, they wind up, I would say, in the top 0.5% of all students in the competition. And overall, there's about 1.5 million students we're talking about here that participate. So it's been about 18 years since we've had National Merit Scholarship finalists in Columbia County, and this year we had 2 at Columbia High School. And like I said, we've already recognized the one. But I want to go ahead and recognize again tonight. It's a great honor to recognize Nicholas Chowdhury of Columbia High School as a National Merit Scholarship finalist. And I believe I can say already that Mr. Chowdhury is also the valedictorian of the class this year of 2023 at Columbia High School, and I believe plans to attend Yale as going to Yale.
Congratulations, Nicholas, and also congratulations to your parents as well. And we appreciate all of your efforts. I remember him from elementary school, so we go way back. Thank you for being here tonight. At this time, we're going to recognize our next presentation, the 2023 Teacher of a Lifetime. And I believe Hope, come on down.
And I'm going to do the intro too, Mr. Carswell. Is that fine with you? Okay, all right. Well, and so
Unless you want me to do it.
that's fine too.
I can do it. Well, first of all, thank y'all. This is an awesome thing. If you came in the hallway, you've noticed the pictures hanging on the walls already. It's an honor to be a part of a school system that's had 10 teachers do what they did for so long, so well, at such a high level. And the reporter asked me the other day about this, and I said, it's important, and I think it's with all my heart, it's important for today's teachers and students to know the history of where we were and where we've been and the great people that got us there. So the 5 that we're recognizing tonight are just awesome. And I'm going to have to take a personal moment. This bow tie, and I've already told Ms. Joyce, was the bow tie that I wore in 1976 when I sang in Mr. Joyce's course. Just meant a lot to me. How I kept it for how many years? 47, 8 years?
We won't count.
I got no idea, but anyway, it just means a lot to me. So thank you, Ms. Joyce. Thank you, Mr. Foreman. And Mr. Joy. The story I got from Mr. Joy, and I'm going to go and take all my moments now. He taught science over here when he taught me science, and he told everybody on Monday, if you make 100 on the end of the test on Friday, I'm going to buy everybody a milkshake makes 100. I've never made 100. Probably hadn't made one since then, but I studied hard that week. Studied hard, and I made 100. And Monday morning, I thought we were going to walk down here to the Tasty Freeze, and he's going to get me a chocolate milkshake. He brought in a candy bar, the milkshake. I was pretty disappointed. So thank y'all. Mr. Miller, thank you. And I don't see anybody representing Mr. Mott, but obviously Mr. Mott, he speaks volumes for what he's doing for our district. So these 5 tonight are it's just fantastic. So we're going to read a little blurb, and then the 3 board members and I will come forward and present.
And so I just want to make sure I do it right. Do you want me to pause at the end of each one so we can take the picture?
Yeah.
Okay,
You want
all
us
right.
to- why don't we come on?
I was going to say, it would be probably better to come on forward. So I will start by reading a little bit of information about Mr. Larry Joy, and then we'll have him come forward and his family members. So Mr. Larry Joy began his career at Lake City Junior High in 1970 and later transitioned over to Columbia High in 1990, where he stayed until his retirement in January 2009. Teaching science was his passion, and he had a hands-on approach that made learning fun. He also was involved in extracurricular activities, serving as the bowling coach and the Leo Club sponsor for many years. His love for students and his job were evident in all that he did. We are thankful for his 39 years of service to Columbia County Schools. Mr. Larry Joy. And so his family can come forward. Are you taking a picture too? Okay, good for you. No, you won't. We will next recognize Ms. Imogene Miller. Ms. Imogene Miller began her career in Dallas, Texas in 1959. She then later moved to Lake City and started teaching at Melrose Park Elementary in 1969. She was She was the loved music teacher at Melrose for 25 years until she moved to Columbia City Elementary in 1994. She inspired her students with the love of music and conducted wonderful chorus concerts until she retired in 2002. We are thankful for her passion to teach students music and her dedication to Columbia County Schools for 33 years. Ms. Imogene Miller. Oh. Next, we recognize Mr. Norman Choice. Mr. Norman Choice served 2 years in the U.S. Army before starting his teaching career in 1965 in South Florida. He started teaching at Richardson High School in 1969 and later transferred to Columbia High School in 1975. Mr. Choice was well known for his exceptional chorus concerts and his love for teaching music to students of Columbia County. The Columbia High School Auditorium was named for Mr. Norman Choice, the Norman Choice Auditorium, to honor his legacy. We are grateful to Mr. Choice and his 23 years of service to Columbia County Schools. And so his family can come up.
We're gonna get that straight, we're gonna reproduce and print some more cards out so that we have
Next, we recognize Ms. Barbara Foreman. Mrs. Barbara Foreman began her career with Columbia County Schools in 1965 at Richardson High School, teaching English and journalism. She later transferred over to Columbia High in 1970, continuing to teach English. Mrs. Foreman left the classroom in 1985 to become the Director of Curriculum and Instruction, where she faithfully served until retirement in 1998. However, Ms. Foreman was not finished. She became an elected school board member in 1998 and continued to serve and influence the students of Columbia County until 2002. We thank Mrs. Foreman for her 37 years of dedication to Columbia County Schools.
First of all, I want to say something to everyone, and what a special, special day this is, especially to recognize the energy and woman of the day. It is uncommon that when you're sick, that you don't want an uncommon doctor to treat you. And if your car breaks down, you want an uncommon mechanic to fix your car. And when you go to war, you want an uncommon admiral for your Navy and an uncommon general for your Army to be there to support you. And so in education, I don't know of a mother or father who did not want their son or daughter to become uncommon students and people. To Mr. Carswell, whom I taught, to Keith Hudson, the best board member I've ever met in my life. Keith has always supported me through good times and in bad. To this young healer person, whose father I taught, and to the chair of the school board, who is also one of my former students, I just want to say to all of you, thank you. Please, family and friends and supporters, would you please stand? I really, really want to thank you for being here tonight for this beautiful occasion, and thank you, Lex, for being a wonderful superintendent.
And last but not least, and did we confirm that we don't have? For Mr. Montgomery, but we were waiting to have family members to be present in the picture. Yeah.
Well, I don't care about the picture.
Well, that's what we're there for. So we're going to recognize him like we did the others. Thank you. All right. So Mr. Montgomery, Mr. Mont, he was lovingly known by that moniker, Mr. Mont. And so he started his career at 5 Points Elementary in 1958. He taught elementary until 1962, when he then transferred to Columbia High School. Mr. Mont was well known for teaching U.S. history, government, and economics with such a passion and enthusiasm that the students thrived in his classes. He also was the girls' tennis coach from 1972 until 1984. Mr. Mont did not have any children of his own. However, he treated all of the thousands of students he was able to mentor and teach as his own children. His love and passion for teaching students in Columbia County for 45 years will always be remembered and appreciated. Mr. Mont.
Thank you. I would say amen to everything that Mr. Carswell said. We'll pause for just a moment in case some visitors want to leave.
Take care.
Thank you.
Chief, you part of my fan club?
This is the fan club lineup, so get in.
You try clapping. You don't have to try too hard. Where's Jay at? He'd clap for me. William would clap for me.
He would. Looking good. Presidente.
Wait, no, you get to speak at the end if you want to speak.
At this time, we'll move on with our agenda. I will move to our action items first, and I will entertain a motion to approve the personnel items with the addendum.
Madam Chair, I move that we approve the personnel items with the addendum.
Is there a second? Any discussion? Okay. Without any discussion, we will vote. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
None opposed. The motion carries. At this time, I will entertain a motion to approve the final estimated cost for improvement of the track at CHS.
Madam Chair, or Vice Chair,
Yes.
I would ask Fred Gaylor before y'all, just so he can kind of give you an update. I think we have our world-famous track coach in the audience with us, so welcome. And this is a big night for him as well. So Mr. Gaylor is going to do a brief presentation and answer any questions y'all have.
You say brief, but it's hard to follow the likes of Ms. Foreman and Ms. Miller. So I'll try to be brief, but they are special. And, you know, they've encouraged a lot of us in a lot of different ways. The action item before you is one that I can present with pleasure. More than anything else I can share with you this evening is the fact that we're able to accomplish it on time and under budget, which is a rare objective that we've been able to obtain in light of recent construction initiatives that we've undertaken. But if you'll look through the packet that you received, it pretty well provides all the information that may provide some questions. I will tell you that it was quite an accomplishment to be able to schedule it amid what the high school wants to do for final activities this school year and be able to have the finish applied to the new asphalt surface prior to the start of school. But I could go into more detail, but if it's not warranted, I won't do it. I'd be glad to entertain any questions and recommend that y'all do accept the action item before you.
Well, Madam Chair,
Go ahead.
if you would, in reading this, the contract, the part of it was rescinded with Gray.
I can share with you that,
If you would explain that.
Mr. Hudson, what it is, the action item actually contains, with the staff recommendation, is to not only approve the estimated cost of construction, but also to reject the proposal from Gray Construction, and actually to award the resurfacing bid to Pro Sports Consulting Group from Tallahassee. And the reason we're rejecting the proposal from Gray Construction is we actually were able through the day labor contract to perform the removal and the reinstallation of the asphalt. And the only thing that really remains to be done is the actual surfacing of the new asphalt, which can only be started after a given time frame of 28 days after the last fragment of concrete and or asphalt is placed on site. We have to wait, that's a proper cure time. And then the surfacing company can come in and actually apply the final surface. Gray had prepared the bids, and in addition to the support from Mr. Hatcher and myself and Coach Davis and others that are a part of the staff, they prepared the bids, sent them out, did the proper notices, and on May the 4th, we received the bids. And you'll see in your packet, there's actually two proposals from Gray Construction. The first one is identified as bid date. You'll see the dollar amount that their proposal included. And then if you look at the page following it, it's actually the follow-up on May 5 that's actually updated, where you can see that the proposal actually went down after a virtual meeting with Mr. Hatcher, myself, and representatives from Gray Construction. We talked through what their recommendation was, and following that, we concluded that we didn't want to entertain Gray's services, that we would only pay them for, based on the contract, the pre-construction fee, which is identified in the packet, and that we would be able to manage the supervision of the surface installation in-house. When you add the numbers up, it's roughly between $85,000 and $90,000 we would have paid for them to actually supervise that portion of the work. And we thought, trying to be, good stewards of the positions we're in, that it wasn't warranted to do that. And that's the reason we've requested your permission and approval to rescind their proposal.
Well, that's a good explanation. We're on the winning side of that one.
Yes, sir.
Thank you.
Are there any further questions for Mr. Gaylord?
Thank you.
Okay. Thank you, Mr. Gaylord. All right, I will entertain a motion at this time.
Madam Chair, I so move we approve that.
Second.
Thank you. Any further discussion?
I'm just glad it's under budget. That's all that matters to me.
Yes, good news. All right, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
The motion carries. Now we're moving to the consent agenda. Do I hear a motion to approve the consent agenda with the addendum?
So move.
So second.
Any discussion on the consent agenda? Okay, then we'll move to a vote. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
The motion carries. At this time, we're now in the citizen comment section of our meeting. Are there any citizens that would like to make a comment? Mr. Gaylord?
Madam Chair, forgive me. I did want to afford Coach Davis an opportunity to speak, if y'all would allow him to do so.
Sure.
First of all, good evening to everyone. Actually, I did, when I came to the meeting, I had no idea that Mr. Gaylord was going to ask me or give me the opportunity to say a few words. But given that opportunity, I would definitely like to take this opportunity to thank each and every one of the school board members, but also to everyone that actually voted for that half-cent tax, because that is the means by which we actually do have and generated the funds to be able to have this track. In addition to that, I know Ms. Foreman has already left, but when I first started coaching, I needed a recommendation from a school board member, because at that time, I was just out of the Marine Corps and I was like 25, somewhere 26 years of age, and I didn't have a reference. Ms. Foreman was that reference for me. So she gave me that opportunity to do my first coaching stint here at Columbia High. Of course, then I had to leave to, fulfill my military obligations. But now that I'm back, that's where and how we actually got to the point where we are now. And it gives me the opportunity to not only to thank each of the members that have played a role in getting that track started, but to let everyone know that we're very appreciative of all the hard work, the dedication, and the effort. Mr. Carswell, Mr. Wintergren, and definitely Mr. Gaylord, everybody that has played a role. I want to extend to all of them and to everyone my thanks and my gratitude. The kids are gonna really appreciate the track, and that's why we do it. That's why we're putting forth that effort to get that track resurfaced so that our kids, when they compete, will be able to compete at home now. We have not been able to compete and host a track meet in over 20 years, which means the parents, the relatives, everyone have not had the opportunity to watch our kids compete. It's not like basketball and football. There's never been a time in which we didn't get the opportunity to watch them play. Next year will be the first year that our relatives, we will be able to see our kids compete. And we're gonna have probably the best track, probably in North Central Florida. There are no other 9-lane tracks in this area. And when you combine that with all of the facilities and the accommodations, we probably will have one of the premier locations for conducting and hosting track meets. And that would not have been possible without the help and the support of everyone that I just mentioned. So again, you have my heartfelt thanks and appreciation. Thank you.
That's awesome. Thank you for speaking. It was good to hear from you.
Madam Chair, that was part of the action item.
Yes.
I do want to say this, Coach Davis, love the fact that you got a whistle around your neck. That's right. My grandson thinks you're a coach if you got a whistle, so I just let you know, you're a good coach if you got a whistle around your neck. So that's...
Okay, we're moving on from the consent agenda to citizen comments. Is there anyone in the audience that would like to make a comment? Mr. Borders, come on down. You have 3 minutes once you get to the podium.
Thank you, ma'am. Appreciate it.
Sure.
I went to Tallahassee Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday. And one of my main agendas was where I feel like if I go back 8 generations in the same place and I pay taxes in the county, that I can vote for who I want to, like school board. And if you don't like who's on the school board, you can vote them out. And I mainly went up there for a man, well, matter of fact, he probably didn't want me to tell you, but he paid my way up there, Mr. Hudson. But anyway, and I went around and all, and guess who knows Keith Hudson now? One of the best governors we ever had. That's who I talked to, Governor DeSantis. He's a good governor, but he can't beat Donald Trump for president. But anyway, I didn't come to tell you that. But anybody, in 2024, he will have 50 years on the school board. You can take everybody on the school board and put them together, and they won't come up with 50 years. And so, and he deserves it. So he has been grandfathered in, and he can run in 2024 and 2028. And I had 2 other ones, one from Suwannee County and one from Lafayette County, and they're grandfathered in. I don't care about the other counties, but anyway, and found out there also that I'm tired of Tallahassee blaming our superintendent, our school board, on our employees for things. I've come to find out they tried to blame it on you, but I found out now it's them. And I explained to them there that we got a teacher that's got 2 master's degrees and making $45,000 a year. But to make that short there, and another thing there, at Pins and Fins, that man gave $1,000 as silver sponsor and gave me $300 to buy a cake, and we paid $500 for it, and Sheriff paid $200. So he does a good job, and as long as God can get me around and I can run this gator mouth, I'm gonna do it for him and all that. And anytime I need any help, and he takes care of the people that works for them employees. People don't even know what he does. So I'm proud of all y'all, even though they got us at the bottom, and all, God bless you. And to finish up,
Time's up, Mr. Borders. Thank you. Is there anyone else? Thank you, Mr. Borders. Is there anyone else that would like to speak in our public comment section? Okay. Then we will move on to school board member comments, and we'll start with Mr. Hudson.
Just want to thank Mr. Borders for putting a good word in for me with the governor. And if he becomes president, don't forget that. We'll have pull in the White House. We'll put in a good word with Trump for us. Okay. Thank you. I know. Thank you. We had a world-class group in here tonight. If you just think about the number of lives that group touched, that's a lot. We're blessed in this county to have that group and others just like them, working with our children day in and day out. So anyway, that's what I have to say. I'm so proud of them.
Thank you. Mr. Field?
Yeah, to kind of go off of that, I appreciate the Teacher of the Lifetime Awards. I enjoyed seeing that last year on that side of the podium here, and I enjoyed being on this side this year. That's a big deal. I appreciated Melrose coming out and opening our meeting for us. I always enjoy seeing the kids come out and do that when we have that. And I'll say it like I always say, I just continue to pray for those that tell me they taught a peeler, because it's just, I know I'm a peeler, so I know it's hard. But I just enjoyed it.
Thank you, Mr. Field. Mr. Carswell?
Yes, ma'am, thank you. Just want to remind everybody that the pictures that we have for the Hall of Fame are out in the hall on the right. Just an awesome night tonight, and I agree with Mr. Hudson, what everybody said. We've had some great people in Columbia County. This is just tip of the iceberg. And I want to remind everybody, the way you nominate someone is that you send us an email and just simply put the person's name on it, and a brief history would help, but we're accepting nominations for the class of 2024, and we look forward to that again next year. I want to remind the board that this Wednesday night at Fort White High School is the Senior Awards, and then Thursday night at Columbia High School at 7 p.m. is the Senior Awards at Columbia High. So Wednesday, Thursday, and then next week, Thursday, Friday, and then back to back, we have baccalaureates and graduations on Thursday and Friday starting next week. So, and the last day for seniors is Friday, and I think they probably all told you all that. That's all I have. Thank you.
Thank you. Ms. Logan?
Thank you, Madam Chair. I did just want to give the board an update. You might recall either earlier this year or even the end of last year, the board authorized Mr. Hatchard to engage in negotiations with regard to the property near Fort White that was Aunt Marcia's daycare. The board then authorized him to proceed with a sales contract, and so last week we finally closed that transaction. So the school board is now in possession of that property, and thereby owns almost the entire block. There's a little sliver with a mobile home that the board does not own, but that may become available at some point, and we can certainly consider that. I've talked to Mr. Carswell. We're going to consider and talk to the town of Fort White about closing the road out there, and reconstructing, reconfiguring that whole thing. So just wanted to bring that to your attention.
Thank you for the update. Well, I just wanted to start by saying thank you to Ms. Cox and Mr. Smithy, who was here earlier, for the job that you're doing. And please extend our thanks to Mr. Pruitt. That was awesome. We appreciate hearing the chorus. They were awesome. So again, thank you for everything that you do for our students. I love the lifetime teachers. That's awesome. I think that's wonderful to be able to recognize these people who've given so much to our students and our community. I consider myself to be very lucky to have had 3 of them as teachers, and then the other 2, I had Mr. Choice as a teacher. I'll never forget, every time I feel the Spirit, I could sing it for you now, but I won't. I did sing for Mr. Carswell earlier.
I was there.
And Ms. Foreman, I had her, and then Mr. Montgomery, he taught me, and he taught all three of my children. I'm just so fortunate to have had that happen. And then Mrs. Miller and Mr. Joy taught my children as well, so I really consider myself to have been lucky.
Anytime we're going to have a boring board meeting, we'll invite Ms. Miller to come back. She stole the show. We should have just went home.
Well, she was known for her shoes. I should have said this while she was here, but she always had the neatest shoes. She was always decked out in those shoes. But the kids loved her. I mean, they adored her, and she was an excellent teacher. So our community is lucky because we have such wonderful teachers and who give of themselves to help their students. I'm so fortunate to have had them as teachers, and I know that we continue to have excellent teachers in our system, and we're lucky for that. With that being said, we are adjourned.